Working my ass off during this whole pandemic. I have not gotten a bonus from the goddamn government. I haven't gotten anything that makes me say, oh, I love to go to work for my America. If anything, I regret not fucking quitting my job and taking unemployment.
But what capitalism has done for you is it's made you realize that you don't like working in this dead-end job or whatever you want to call it, and you want to do your own thing. And you'll want to strive to do good and to not just make ends meet, but to prosper.
Yeah, but why can't you have access to healthcare?
I think that's great. I think those are great ideas.
And also do that.
I think that's great.
I don't understand why small business owners need to suffer the most.
No, and that's the thing. It's like we don't need to be taxing small business owners as much. And but we do need these things. We do need Medicare and, healthcare for all. Those are very important issues.
And that's the thing too, is that I think people forget that if we focus on these issues and we help a lot of the homeless people that have fucking mental health issues and they're sick mentally and they're also sick physically, and if we fix these things, less of our tax dollars goes to those people.
Yeah.
They can actually be a functioning part of society. They can actually help. They can actually do the better part of what they want to be as a person. I guarantee you, if you go to a homeless person, none of them are like, oh, I chose this life. They chose it in a really fucked up way where they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And then if someone gives you heroin and you have major depression or major anxiety or whatever is affecting you, or you're bipolar and heroin seems to help, what's going to make you not get addicted to heroin? And then you're going to fall down a rabbit hole of not having enough money to support your habit, blah, blah, blah. You get someone pregnant. It's a whole fucking thing. Your kid gets stuck in the system. Your wife gets fucking abused. It's just, there's all of this shit that unfolds that you could easily prevent if everyone just had accessibility.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy. There's not a lot of preventive measures. We still have these things built in like sugarcane lobbyists. Mm-hmm. You know how much fucking sugarcane America grows? It's like 0.001% of the fucking world's cane sugar. Yet we still have these people going, we need money. We need subsidized money for, and tax breaks and stuff for sugar, which I get it. We should have freedom to eat whatever the fuck we want. But this is also something that's costing us a shit ton on the medical end. Because diabetes and the medication to create diabetes.
One thing about corn syrup. Think about everything that goes into making your body unhealthy and your mind unhealthy. And then from there, so say
fields of corn.
Say you're a kid that gets stuck in the system. You're in the foster system. And you go from anywhere from 10 to 45 to 100 different houses. Who knows? In that time frame of you being newborn to fucking 18 years old, and then you go to all these houses, not saying that all foster parents are bad or all foster homes are bad, but most make a pretty penny off of fostering kids. And so they get a nice little tax penny. They feed their kids shit. They hoard the money of the rest for them. They're not getting enough health care. They're not getting enough dental care. So by the time you're 18, you've probably lost a few teeth. You've probably dabbled in drugs or some sort of theft or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just a life you get accustomed to. And it's 100% easier to fall into that than it is to try, especially when no one's giving you the chance. And that's what I see all the time in my job, is I see constantly great people getting turned away all the time. And they're always young, and they're always just these fucking kids that want to get out of whatever situation they're in, but no one will give them a chance.
Yeah.
And they pass background, they pass a drug screen, and somehow that's not good enough. And so what else do you do at that point? You turn to the person that says, hey, go sell this drug for me, and I'll give you a shit ton of money at the end of it. And then you get addicted to that drug, and that's what the drug dealer is banking on, is that you're going to get addicted to that, and you're going to have to owe him all of your money, and then you're going to fucking fall down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's this terrible fucking way. And even people that get out of prison for just fucking Idaho. There's so many people out there that have felonies because of marijuana possession. You know how fucking stupid that is? It's ridiculous. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And most people will not give them a job in Washington.
Yeah.
Because they have an offense on their background.
I think it's one of the best things, as crazy as all the fucking liberal bullshit ideas that Portland and Oregon has. I think legalization of drugs and the decriminalization of all drugs is a huge victory for human people.
Because, I mean, and especially these guys that, I had one guy that couldn't get a job. He had his first offense when he was 18. He's 55 years old. And it still shows up on his record.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it still affects him getting a normal fucking job.
Yeah.
So why not turn to alcohol? Why not fucking drink yourself to death? Why not end up on the streets? Way easier than everyone telling you no all the time.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is where I get so disconnected from my job, is that.
It's just like if you were a parent and you had...
Like, I feel like all of my employees, all of my candidates are my kids.
If you were a parent and you had like 12 kids and you had a strict curfew of like, everyone has to be in bed at 8 o'clock at night, and you have to make sure each one of those kids is in bed. A majority of those kids aren't going to follow the rules, and you have to spend all that time making sure they're in timeout. Okay, you're in 30-minute timeout, and you're in 30-minute timeout, and you're in 30-minute timeout. And so you have to keep an eye on this, and there's staggered times. Next thing you know, you're staying up later than you want to be.
And time is money. No matter how you look at it.
But
if you're staying up with all those kids, you're not able to work as hard the next day.
If you got rid of that strict 8 o'clock rule, you wouldn't have to spend all that time and energy worrying about what time they go to bed. They'll decide when they go to bed. I mean, it might be bad for some people who are like, that's a bad parenting thing. Whatever. Fucking kids get tired, they fall asleep. And you spend less of your resources and less of your energy. And then when you wake up the next day, you're tired.
And this is
a great example for our society, because now our resources are spent and we've exhausted everything, and now we have to go back to our children and go, well, you keep breaking this law, and then we just keep draining the system. It's a cycle. My
issue too is that so many people are like, well, now that Joe Biden's president, you can get tons of abortions, and also you're going to get taxed the fuck out of. And my thing with the taxation is that... It's the least of your worries, by the way. It is the least of your worries. And it's also, we're already getting taxed to pay for people that don't fucking do shit. That's all of my taxes this whole year have gone to that. It's gone to people literally sitting at home while I try to find them jobs when I have 40 plus jobs and I have 0 employees. I don't understand where these people are like, oh, well, Trump's done such a good job. No one's done a fucking good job for the last fucking 31 years of my life. Yeah. Like, if they had been doing a good job, I wouldn't have so many fucking taxes being pulled out of my paycheck to go to all of these fucking programs that are socialism programs. And it's fucked up that no one realizes that that's a thing that's happening now. They think it's only going to happen when a Democrat's running. And I don't understand why that correlation is there. This is a great... Our taxes have always gone to the fucking people that don't necessarily need them. There's a lot of people that take on food stamps that smoke weed and drink alcohol. And I think that's fucking unfair. I think if you need food stamps, you should 100% pass a drug screen and pass an alcohol screen. And I know that sucks, and I know that seems really fucking weird, but at the same time, you're leaning on the government to help you. And if I'm helping you and my money's going to you, I want to damn sure know that it's going to a person that deserves it versus it going to like a drug dealer. Right. And that's the issue I have. Right. And if it was in a state where it's legalized, then you can get a prescription. Exactly. And it's dosed out, all this stuff. It's just there's so many other ways to make our situation so much better. And what it comes down to is that the middle class is now struggling. So you have the lower class, which has always been struggling. You have the middle class, which is now starting to struggle. And now you have the higher class who thinks that everything is owed to them somehow. And I don't understand that. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get how these corporations are like, oh, well, me, I'm so sad. I'm losing all this money. No, you're not. You're fucking fine. Everyone else isn't fine. Like, I don't know. It's a mess. Well, I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know what the wrong. I know the wrong answer, but I don't know how to fix it.
I love the smoke screen. And it's taken me a long time to kind of realize it. And this goes both parties, and they throw stuff at us that are triggering, like abortion, taxes, and this is like the slight burnt edge of the pizza crust. There's this whole fucking pie here that we're not touching, and then right in the center there's a little turd no one even looks at. Like there's literally like shit right in the middle.
Like our food's contaminated.
Yeah.
Everything's contaminated.
Because when we're fighting over, did you know there's 20,000 baby murders a year? Which is, no one likes abortions. I've said it a million times. No one does.
No one likes killing babies.
No one likes killing babies. But when they throw that shit at us, guess what? The military industrial complex gets more money. Doesn't matter who the fuck's president, Democrat or Republican. We go to a goddamn war. Hundreds of thousands of people die in drone wars. A large portion of them being babies, pregnant mothers. This is a real statistic. You can look it up. Shit's terrifying. Innocent people dying. And guess what? What happens to these countries? Iraq. It's a fucking disaster. There's all these places where there's a vacuum of power. And now you get things like ISIS. Well, ISIS, we demolish ISIS, right? Just a matter of time. Unless we appoint a government that's going to work in that society with their beliefs in mind.
It all trickles down.
It is a disaster.
It all works together. Everyone has to work off of each other to make it work. You can't be divided.
Yeah.
It's not feasible. And I've noticed this, and this might be my own personal experience, but if your workforce is divided, your company is going to fall apart. Amazon is already starting to have strikes. And it's shocking that it hasn't fucking happened before. But they're barely starting to strike and say, we want a union. And I know a lot of people frown against unions. However, with someone as big as Jeff Bezos and how big their section is, and they're big enough to have their own laws against you leaving work and having the allotment time for you to go vote, you got to have a union. I'm sorry. If you're that fucking large, you have to have a union. And you have to be across the board 100% the same with your entire community. It's the same as welders. The Welders Association, if you're in that union, doesn't matter where you are in the world or in the United States, not the world, but in the United States, you're paid that wage across the board. And that's how it should be with Amazon. You're such a big company that 100%, regardless of where there's a minimum wage difference or not, you should be paid 15 and up all throughout it.
Right. And these ideas are to hold companies accountable because of things like, this is where it gets sketchy with the capitalism thing, which I'm a capitalist.
And I'm a Marxist.
And you're a fucking terrorist.
I really need to look up Marxism and make sure I want to.
You would love it if you read it. You would love it. It sounds great. But everywhere people have tried that type of socialism, or any type of socialism, it has failed miserably. Even today, I mean, like Argentina, all these other countries, it just doesn't. It doesn't hold up.
I'll find a country.
It doesn't work.
I'll make a country. I'll make my own place,
But freedom works.
Make my own fucking sovereign nation.
I think it's power. Power corrupts. Ultimate power corrupts ultimately. I mean, it's
sure. If a bunch of people loved me. I already love myself enough to make me creepy.